Hi there. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about fertility apps and monitors and which one would be right for you to use. There are so many fertility apps and monitors that are available, and quite frankly, it gets really rather confusing as to which one would be best for you. I think with so much advance in technology these days, we've come to really rely on apps for so many things in our life, whether it be shopping, music, social media, or whatever. And there's been quite a lot of media attention surrounding the benefits of apps and monitors for fertility. But I suppose what you really want to know is, can they help you get pregnant, and which is the best one to use? So first of all, before we get into that, I think it's really important to understand the difference between apps and monitors, because there's a little bit of confusion in those two. Recent studies have shown that using a fertility app on its own is generally ineffective, and it doesn't accurately show when you are most fertile, which is then just going to result in like loads more confusion. So these apps tend to use what we kind of call the calendar method, which is basically like using your diary and putting when you had your period in. But that doesn't tell you when you ovulate, because we kind of assume that you ovulate every cycle exactly the same time. And it's assumed because you're told that you ovulate on day 14 of a cycle. But that's only accurate if you have a regular 28-day cycle, and even then you might not be ovulating on day 14, because lots of different things can make ovulation late. Stress, traveling, work, whatever it can be, mean that you can ovulate later. So it's actually quite unusual for women to ovulate on day 14 of a cycle generally, and it's even more unusual for women to ovulate on exactly the same day in every cycle. So if you're using an app that just relies on a calendar method, you may as well just be putting it in your diary. It's not going to give you any further information. So some apps can go a little bit further, and they can use your date of your period and also how long your previous cycle lasted to help you time ovulation. But again, based on the fact that ovulation changes with different cycles, and based on the fact that no woman, or very few women, have this regular 28-day cycle, that's where, again, apps just don't have the technology to give you that much information. But that's exactly where a fertility monitor can come in and really help you get a lot more reliable information. So if you use fertility monitors in conjunction with apps, they're going to offer you greater reliability. So as well as tracking a cycle, the monitor gives you the ability to track one of your fertility indicators. And the most common one is tracking your temperature, because by tracking your temperature is a direct reflection of your progesterone levels. And when you get a rise in progesterone, that indicates that you've ovulated. There's two ways of monitoring your temperature using a monitor currently, and that's by using basal body temperature or using core body temperature. So basal body temperature is the external temperature. So that's why you can use a thermometer. Some apps and monitors might be using your temperature underneath your arm. So that's a difference with basal body temperature. But core body temperature is your internal temperature. That's a temperature that your body maintains for all of your organs. So that is actually the most accurate way of checking temperature, is by using core body temperature. The most accurate method for tracking basal body temperature, so that's the outside temperature, is actually orally, by mouth. There are a number of skin-based monitors that I've talked about and under the arm, but unfortunately they aren't as accurate, and they're subject to kind of temperature disturbances. So I would always recommend, if you're considering using a monitor, that you either take your temperature using a basal body thermometer, dead simple to do, or you consider a core body temperature monitor as well. So I mentioned a minute ago that progesterone is rise in progesterone indicates that you've ovulated. And what happens is progesterone is released during the process of ovulation in each of your cycles. And your progesterone levels then stay elevated, they stay high for the duration of the rest of your cycle after ovulation. And as progesterone is released, it causes your body temperature to rise. And this rise of temperature, like I said, is directly linked to progesterone level measurement. So measuring your temperature allows you to see exactly when ovulation has occurred. And detecting when ovulation occurs and then working out your fertile window, because you also then have to add that in too, increases your chances of natural conception. So ideally, with a monitor, you take your temperature reading overnight. That is the most accurate way, because you're getting a stable level to see then a rise in temperature. That's when it's at its most stable. And like I said, you've got this kind of accuracy, I guess, scale. So wrist is very inaccurate, so is skin. Ears, not particularly accurate. Oral is becoming more accurate. And then rectal, so up your bottom, and vaginally is a very accurate method for monitoring temperature. So there are lots and lots of apps. You might have heard of them. You might have heard of names that have you've seen on social media. And it really depends which one you choose for your own personal circumstances and which one that you prefer using. I have my favourite, and you are very welcome to contact me if you'd like to find out a little bit more about the one that I recommend. That I have a favourite one that I recommend. It's called OviSense, and I recommend it purely because it is the most accurate monitor out there. Now, so that I'm being very transparent, I do work with OviSense. I do some consultancy for them as part of the work that I do, and I advise the company on all things to do with fertility and temperature recording for fertility. I started working with them a number of years ago, and I think it's important that I mention that, because I want you to understand that I'm not recommending it based on the fact that I work with them. I have nothing to do with that side of it. But the reason why I recommend OviSense is that it is the most accurate, and that's why I wanted to work with them. So that's my favourite. And if you would like to find out more information about OviSense, then please feel free to contact me. But also have a look at the other apps and monitors that are out there, because there might be ones that maybe suit your circumstances better. So if you'd like to find out more about the apps and monitors, or you have any questions regarding apps and monitors, feel free to get in contact with me at Kate at Your Fertility Journey. And you can also get in contact via Instagram on at Kate. No, not Kate, sorry, at Your Fertility Journey. Okay, thank you. Bye for now.